Hey, what's going on, everybody? Sorry we're a little bit late, but welcome, my friends, to the dark side of the room. I am Solar Gray, the cinematic sorcerer. What is going on? And hello, twitch.tv/BID_P. What is going on, Twitch? I am back. We're going to be doing this. We're going to be doing this big. We have a lot of stuff to talk about today. And I mean a lot of stuff to talk about today. We're going to be covering American Gods. We're going to be covering Marvel Crisis Protocol. We're going to be covering a bunch of different things. And I'm unveiling officially the plan for Back in the Deck for the year 2020, just so that everybody has an idea of what the stuff that we're doing. But I want to thank you guys for showing up, all of you guys that are here, and for y'all people that are coming in late. Be cool to them, chat. All right, just be cool to them. And I'm so glad that you guys are here, and I'm happy. Let me just pump this music up a little bit. I know some of y'all hate me for that, but if you guys want to join the show, ask me a question, do all that jazz, I am all for it. All you got to do is pull up your keyboard, open up any of your social media things, including your email, and type in back in the deck at gmail.com. That's BACKINTHEDECK at gmail.com. You can also head on over to our YouTube channel, subscribe to us over there, because we need to get them followers, y'all. Looking for them followers, looking for everybody that is doing the thing that we are trying to do right quick, right now, and all that. So just head on over to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube. Just look for BID_P. Head on over to Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at Back in the Deck or at BidP. Look us up on SoundCloud, you know, all the social media things. And if you head on over to our YouTube channel, you'll be able to see we have a plethora of videos. Yes, they're long, but I trust that you guys have an attention span longer than that of a mayfly, because, how can I put it? I give everybody a lot of credit. So if you guys want to help us out with all that jazz and to help keep the lights on, or help us make more videos and help fund us for what we're going to be doing for 2020, that would be rather appreciated if you guys head over to patreon.com/BID_P. And we got tiers starting at $1, ending all the way at $100. And I'm renaming all you guys, because let's face it, you guys are deckers, and I want you guys to feel like you are aces. And of course, head on over as well to our SoundCloud. Why our SoundCloud? Because I get a lot of complaints all the time with people going, well, I can't watch your shows, man, it's just a bunch of talking heads and all that stuff, and and I'm like, really, guys? You guys are making me lose faith in Southern California, but that's okay, because if you guys don't want to watch my face and all that other jazz, you can just head on over to soundcloud.com/BID_P and listen to the audio of every single broadcast that we do. And here is the beauty of it, guys. If you guys so feel like it, if you guys want to do that, you can download the audio of every single episode that we do of every show. I'm uploading them as fast as I can, but believe me, there are 7 years of content there right now that you can download and keep for yourself forever for free. That is my gift to you. That's right. So just head on over to the SoundCloud, and you guys will be doing a really, really big favor. Now, I do gotta let you guys know that this is my pretty face. How you guys doing? Hey, what is going on? So yeah, we're here and we are doing a major thing. We have a lot of stuff to talk about today. All right, and we have a special guest. We got a friend of mine that's coming in here. We have done so many crossovers with our channels and everything that we have been putting out there for, God, at least 2 years now. So I'm going to welcome the youngster, the one soul, the one, the only Michael Young Jr., or Michael Young the second, rather, the host of Nerd Soul. How's it going, my friend?
What's up? What's up? It's great to see you guys' sunshiny faces. and let's do this.
Yeah, we gonna do this now. For those of you guys that are interested, we're gonna be taking certain parts of the show, and we're gonna be putting the highlights over on YouTube. But as you guys know, with the COPPA stuff that's going on right now, I can't really afford to lose my channel with some of the stuff that we talk about, because we talk about mostly gaming stuff, and that can be considered kid stuff or not kid stuff, and too
Yeah.
many violations, and then they kill the channel. So I have to be very selective about what I put up, which means more time in the editing bay. And the more time I spend in the editing bay, the fewer videos I'm making for you guys. So you guys get that whole thing? I mean, what are you thinking about all this, man? Seriously.
It's it, I see. I guess I see what they're trying to do, but it seems like using a hammer when they need a scalpel. Um, but at the same time, I understand it's a big site, so it just seems that every time they go to squash something or eliminate an issue, that all we get is misdirection or the wrong people getting hurt. Like the wrong people are the ones whose channels are getting torn down, as opposed to you know the rule or the I don't know, bylaw or whatever actually affecting what they want to affect. Do I think there's money involved in this? Yes. Do I think that there's power involved in this as far as like traditional media? Yes. And there's been some YouTube channels that have done a good job at proving how easily traditional media gets on trending and stuff like that. Also, that it seems like with a lot of traditional media, i.e., like say CNN or Jimmy Fallon or any one of those Fox News, any of those traditional media outlets on YouTube somehow doesn't have to play by the same rules as well as big YouTubers. And I'm not talking about like being like, oh, you got 10,000. No, I'm talking about the guys that have like 2, 3, 4 million, subscribers. It seems that they somehow were sliding by these rules, and that's a big problem.
Well,
Uh,
there's no correction like an overcorrection. That's the main thing I always like to say. And yeah, but one of the things that I've noticed about the COPA thing is I get it, because being hit by the Federal Trade Commission, that's the government. And when the government
yeah,
wants your money,
government,
yeah, the
government.
GUBMNT, government. And when they want your money, you can't hide. You know, I mean, you can kill 130, 140 different people on St. Valentine's Day, and they will get you for owing them money. Ask Al Capone. You know,
Mhm.
remember they got him on taxes. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, they did. True
mm,
that.
yeah. So what we're doing today is we're going to talk about a couple of different things. Again, as you guys know, I have been playing a game called Marvel Crisis Protocol, which is a tabletop
Ooh.
miniature skirmish game, where you put heroes against heroes and they fight each other. And last year, we focused a lot on hero clicks. And why am I bringing this up now? Go ahead, ask me.
Why are you bringing this up now?
Because of the restructuring that we're doing, and Marvel Crisis Protocol has a lot to do with that. Now,
Ah,
as you guys know, we've been flipping around platforms forever between Twitch and YouTube and Facebook Live. And all we're really trying to do is build the community, bring more people in, and try and kind of find our home on this internet place with all of this stuff. Because I feel like I'm on the TV, and that's cool. Matter of fact, for some of y'all, I might even be
I'm
on the
on
TV.
TV.
Yeah, that's right. I'm on TV. On TV, y'all. So, what are we gonna do about that type of thing? Well, I am back here on Twitch. That is what I'm doing. That is where I'm going. The
Hmm.
highlights are gonna be on YouTube for the people that are like, I only got 4 minutes. And that's cool. But
I
they're
ain't got
they're
all day.
huh?
I ain't got all day.
Yeah, right. And I'm like, yeah, you do. You do got all day, because I've seen you people on YouTube, and you guys
What do
are
you mean, you people?
huh? The people on YouTube that'll spend 5 hours watching a bunch of 14-minute videos, saying they don't have 90 minutes to watch a video. you
Yeah,
know.
true.
So yeah, I mean that's all. That's all. So yeah, I was actually I totally forgot to ask. I was hoping to get Chauncey in on this conversation because we're having some big conversation today about current media. Now, this would normally go on the show, bust a recap, but again, that's being reworked to a lot of things. Um, but let's talk about that real quick. All right. So yeah, we got this whole restructuring. So I got a few announcements that I got to put out there for you guys, which is number one, January 3rd. That is our big day. Okay. On January 3rd, we are restructuring everything else. Backinthedeck.com will be a thing. And our two prime live platforms are going to be Twitch and Patreon. Those are going to be the two big things. So for as little as $1 a month, you guys can check out our stuff on Patreon, and that is where. Well, let me explain to you guys how Patreon works. Y'all pledge money in, and y'all essentially become producers. You can give us ideas for what shows to do, for what topics to cover, and most of our stuff is going to be going up there. And we're going to go back to the 4 to 5 day a week live casting schedule. Okay, it might kill me. It might just do that, but we're going to be going in to that type of thing. So a good amount of those live casts are going to be over. Hey, we got a new special guest. A good amount of those live casts are going to be over on Patreon as far as the other stuff that we're going to be doing. Now with Patreon, they're going to get early access to everything, and that will start at the $5 level. Okay, why? Because I'm producing a lot of stuff right now with our new show Warp Tumblers, and well, let's just put down let us put down the new schedule. Would you be interested to know the new schedule, Nerd Soul?
Yeah. What is that new schedule?
Well, that new schedule, I see that Nerd Soul the Third would be rather interested. um, so, the way that we're going to be doing it is Monday, we're going to have shows practically every day. All right. So, we're going to start with our Sunday schedule. Our work week is going to be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Okay. Because Wednesday belongs to my mama, and y'all can't take that from her. Okay. Boom. There we go. There we go. So,
Too bad.
but yeah, Sunday we're bringing back Bust a Recap. Now, for those of you guys that are interested, Bust a Recap is the show that we are talking about. Yeah, we're going to be talking about some real stuff. All right, we're talking about the media that we are currently consuming. So, for the next few, we are going to be talking about The Watchmen and The Dragon Prince. That's starting January 3rd after we soak in everything. For those of you guys watching live, you'll be able to join in on the conversation, blah, blah, blah. If you are like Shannon Boom Boom Lay, you might even get an invitation to talk with us on screen the way that we're talking with Nerd Soul right now. So that Sundays, we'll be talking about The Watchmen and The Dragon Prince. And of course, from then on, we'll be giving you a schedule of the next stuff that we're going to be covering. Next, we're going to be doing Coffee and Conversation. Now, Coffee and Conversation is a very important show because that is where the interviews and stuff come in. That's where you guys are going to be able to kick back with us and watch us talk with people in the industry. You know, we've been doing a lot of festivals and things like that, so that's where those conversations are coming out. That sound interesting?
Yeah.
Well, sounds interesting to him. He's getting pretty big. Now, the next thing. All right, so now Tuesdays, Dark Side of the Room is gonna stay where Dark Side of the Room is. All right, that's where we're at. Dark Side of the Room, boom. Our normal call time is 2:00. If enough patrons come in and let us know a better time, we might switch it to that better time. So that's the whole thing. You know, you become a patron, you get a little more control. After that, we're going to be doing game galleries on Thursdays because we're taking Wednesday off. Now, Game Gallery is going to be the show that we're going to be talking about the games. And um, now that I've got a little bit more of a schedule coming down, we're going to be talking about the games that I'm currently playing. This is going to be a shorter format, and this is where our battle reports are going to lie. So you guys are going to be able to see playthroughs of certain games and all that jazz. And that's going to be the one that has the most editing involved. Isn't that fun? Game Gallery is also where Warp Tumblers is going to be happening. So that is going to be a thing. All right. So we're really looking forward to that. We've been working really hard on it. And check the Instagram for the pictures of the sets and all that stuff. And finally, Hobby Hall. Hobby Hall is the show that a lot of you guys have been wanting, and a lot of the reasons that I haven't been, I guess you could say I haven't been live casting very much, because I have to, of course, get the studio ready for the Hobby Hall. And this is going to be our Bob Ross like arts and crafts show. Okay, this is where I sit down with you guys and we're going to learn to paint miniatures, make terrain, do all of that cool hobby and craft stuff. So that is where we're going to be sitting with that, and that is going to be our schedule for 2020. So if you guys are interested, that's the whole thing. I'm going to be posting it over on Patreon, posting it over on backinthedeck.com, and of course leaving a video on YouTube in another week or so. So that's where we're going with all that. But I want to get to the main topic of today's discussion, because I'm already a half in and we're just talking about some stuff. So there is a show that I have been watching, and hold up, I just knocked over something down here. Hope I don't burn the place down.
Oh, it'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll see. And this show that I have been watching is based on one of my favorite books, or one of my favorite books from this author. I gotta make that clear, because as you guys know, part of being a wizard is reading more than prolifically. Google the word. And this is another TV show adaptation, because there's been so many coming down, and we're going to be talking about those on other shows in the future. Happily to say, Dune is coming. Dune is coming! And so we're going to be dealing with that. But the show that I've been watching for the past couple of years has been American Gods on Stars. And just to give you guys a little bit of a rundown, it's a road trip movie starring Odin and another dude, and he goes to see a bunch of gods in a whole bunch of different pantheons. One of which happens to be one that I'm tied to personally, being the African spider god and the keeper of all stories and wisdom, Anansi, played by our good man from Mad TV. And you know, we're talking from Mad TV, we're talking from
Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, he's got a prolific history, and you know, played by our good friend Orlando Jones. Tell him a little bit about the show from your perspective, bro.
The show, from my perspective, is, you know, you have these beings or gods that kind of survive off of the belief and the worship of us humans. The older gods, people still believe in them, but they're, you know, much fewer than it used to be back in the day before we had technology. Now, newer gods, which, you know, they have to fight against, or American gods, are gods like money or technology. War. Well, war is kind of down with the new gods, but that's all another thing. Anyway, the point is, the newer guys that are based on technology, social media, stuff like that, they, or is it media or just mass media? I can't remember. I think it's media.
Yeah, it
Well,
was
no,
media.
she got changed to
It
new
was media
media.
in total. In total.
Yeah, yeah, and then she got changed to new media. But, you know, those new guys have way more followers than the old guys. The new guys want to get rid of the old guys because they're like, we want all the worship, son. Like, we don't want to be sharing. We ain't sharing up in here. So it starts there, and there's this struggle, and like you said, there's a road trip trying to find people that can ally with the old guys and with the new guys to have this big grand showdown that I assume is coming or was coming, something like that.
Yeah, so that has been a huge thing. That's been a huge thing, and the show. Funny thing about Neil Gaiman stuff, it his stuff tends to work better. Um, like his stuff works better on screen than it tends to in the book for most Americans. I hate to say it, I really do,
Mm.
but that is the deal. That is what happens, and I can live with it whether or not I like it. Um, and again, I've been following the man's work forever. But before we do anything else, I want to check in on I want to check in on NP City real quick, just to
Okay,
say
okay.
hey. Yeah, a special shout out to NP City. What's going on, guys? What's going on? We got the Vixen, we got Boom Chicka Boom Boom, our two top patrons that are going on there.
Ooh,
And
what
yeah,
up?
that's right. That's right. Um, I keep all donations anonymous, but I have to give Boom a special shout out every single show, every single transmission, because she's at least at that tier. Isn't that fun? Um, but yeah, so like I was saying, yeah, his stuff tends to translate really well to the screen, and I've really been watching the show. It's got Ian McShane, which is one of my favorite actors, and playing my family's patron god has been Orlando Jones.
Hmm.
And recently, there has been a thing to where, as of last week, he was fired from the show.
Yeah. Or well, we found out he was fired from the show.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
he
we
was
found out that
fired
he
back
was
in
fired from the
September.
show, and that became a thing. So, we are pulling up his tweet.
So is checkers a metaphor for life, a war, or just an excuse for some sunrise, bro?
Oh,
Good
dude,
questions, though,
I
bro.
hate these things. I
Hi,
hate
I'm
these
Mark
things.
Checker of Entertainment Weekly, back
Nope, nope,
again
no,
with
no, no, no.
Mr.
I hate
Nancy
this stuff.
himself, Orlando Jones, and we're here to
Ah,
break down American Gods Episode
ah,
2, The Secret of Scrooge.
Oh
Here
boy.
there we go. Yeah, it's been a thing. But yeah, so we sorry about that. But yeah, so let's check out the man's tweet right here. If I can get this thing going. Do 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 do. Come on, come on. Oh, it's being like that. Yep, it is totally being like that. Hang on. There we go. All right. So let's check out what the man himself has to say here. Uh, is the sound coming in?
See, no, not yet.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see what we can do on that real quick. Um, yeah. Yep, yep. Hmm. Oh, okay. I see what's happening there. All right. That ain't no big. We're just gonna go over here real quick. And yeah, we're gonna go over here real quick, and we are gonna pull up his what he has to say. Cause yeah, there was a little
Serious
shade.
words.
Yeah, he's
Serious
got some
words.
words. So let's take a look.
September 10th, 2018, I was fired from American Gods. There will be no more Mr. Nancy. Don't let these motherfuckers tell you they love Mr. Nancy. They don't. I'm not going to name names, but the new season 3 showrunner is Connecticut born and Yale educated, so he's very smart. And he thinks that Mr. Nancy's angry, get shit done is the wrong message for black America. That's right, this white man sits in that decision-making chair, and I'm sure he has many black BFFs who are his advisors and made it clear to him that if they did not get rid of that angry god, Mr. Nancy, he'd start a Denmark VC uprising in this country. I mean, what else could it be? To the wonderful Neil Gaiman, thank you for allowing me to play this role,
Yeah, so
for writing this wonderful
this dude,
book,
like,
for
he is
opening the
bad.
door for me
He-
to become
he
a
is-
writer-producer on
He's
season
got
2.
some hotness going
He's
right
not
now.
playing.
You know, and don't get me wrong, I do not remotely blame him for the amount of anger
Mm-mm.
that he's showing right there, because that's the thing I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to talk about how he brought up something interesting about this new showrunner, which is the New England Ivy League educated, that kind of thing. But the
Mm.
idea that um, we've got this new showrunner saying that they cut Miss. Well, there are a couple of conflicting stories here. Okay, story one was Mr. Nancy was cut because the anger gets things done speech that he gave back in season one is a bad message.
It's
And
not. It's not the. I think it's what the not the message Black America needs right now.
yeah,
Like something crazy like that.
yeah. And let's see. Funny enough, I can pull up a clip of this thing. So that's a fun part. So let's ah. What is up oh, okay, yeah. Screw that. Okay. So, yeah, let's yeah, I got a clip here of the speech in of itself, and let's take a look at it real quick. Shall we? That's right. Hmm.
Land of opportunity, milk and honey, and guess what? You all get to be slaves. Split up, sold off, and worked to death. The lucky ones get Sunday off to sleep, fuck, and make most slaves an awful one. For cotton, indigo, for a fucking purple shirt. The only good news is the tobacco your grandkids are gonna farm for free. It's gonna give a shitload of these white motherfuckers cancer. And I ain't even started yet.
What?
100 years later, you're fucked. 100 years after that, fucked. 100 years after you get free, you still getting fucked out of job and shot at by police. You see what I'm saying? And no.
Now,
This guy gets it.
now that speech was rather powerful. I'm trying not to get flagged in too many places, so it's one of them things, you know. But yeah, that speech was pretty powerful. And spoiler alert, it ends with those slaves burning down the ship because they're angry about it. And it was the message that I got from that was better dead than in bondage. Okay.
Yeah.
And the new showrunner cut a lot of people this season. And Orlando Jones was the first on the chopping block. And the reason that he gave was that is a bad message or not a good message to send to the African American community. And yeah, there are some words. There are some words there. Because one, it's a tough one for us. It's a tough one for me personally because by what measure is good message or bad message measured? And second, who is this guy to say that this is good, that is not? That is a big question. I talk a lot about euphemisms and the dishonesty behind certain statements like it's not that I don't want to hang out, I'm just busy, you know? That's all. I'm just too busy for you. What are your thoughts on this? Well, actually, before I get to that, yeah. So it's like, well, that's a bad message to send, and I'm just kind of going, well, I look at these things and I try and have the discussion because the part that this is missing is, well, if that is a bad message, what would a good one be? That's the thing that I'm just scratching my head about. I don't quite get it. You know what I mean? So, you know, what are your thoughts on this, man?
The interesting part here is that we know that the showrunner Charles Eagley or Eagle, I think it's Eagley, is a white Joe, and it's interesting that he would be the decider of what is good for Black America, regardless of message. What would be a good, I don't know, a good pair of shoes, a good shirt, a good, you know, dinner. For him to decide anything for Black America as a whole, is interesting. With that said, I think Black America has
I love how
already
you say
decided.
interesting. It's like it's interesting.
I I think Black America has already decided on the message that they need, or the message that they want, because these clips of him from season 1 and season 2 have been shared and retweeted, and articles have been written about them, from black media. So folks like myself, Blurdish, yourself, Thought Crimes, For All Nerds, Blur Girl, whoever, Black Tribbles, people in that space have written about it. So he's, at least on the surface, seems to be disconnected from Black America, because it seems that Black America is enjoying this message, and it's the message that they want. Now, he says it's not what they need. Need is a different issue, because is it not what we need, or is it not what you want us to need?
Yeah, it's and I think that is the point that's got a lot of people in outrage. Again, I'm kind of going, what is this dude thinking? Because he's kind of torpedoing the franchise, considering the sequel
Yeah,
to American Gods is all about Mr. Nancy. So if it's
yeah,
one of these things where it's like, well, you're I'm cutting you from the show right now, but get the sequel prepped because you got 4 seasons of that coming, and I want you to do more on that. That would be a thing, but we haven't heard word. But what I had a discussion with someone yesterday, one of the dudes over at the Metropolis, um, and the hard R is being used a lot right now. And I wanted to talk to people and tell them why. I normally don't do politics and stuff on this show, but this is reflective of something that's in entertainment and games and a lot of nerd culture with that euphemism thing. Because, okay, there is only one god from Africa that's well known in Western civilization, okay? And that is Mr. Nancy. And we have a new person joining the chat, which is awesome. Um, Thank you. I want to say hello to Miss Kawhi. How you doing, Miss Kawhi?
I'm
You can,
good.
yeah, you can check out. We are live right now on Twitch TV, and we're at that euphemism part about American Gods. So if it's not specifically happening because of if it's not specifically happening because of hang on, boom, there we go. Oh, there, nope, nope, nope. Okay, trying to unmute her. Yeah, if it's not specifically happening, there we go.
Okay, I have a baby with me, that's why.
Oh, so does so does Nerd Soul.
Okay.
It's a kid show. It's a kid show today. So yeah, if this stuff isn't happening, you can turn on your camera as well, or you can not. It's just good to have you in the conversation.
Oh yeah, I'm walking in the dark. It's fine.
But so the euphemism is this is not good for the black community. Okay, that's cool. But one, what is? What is the message that you would rather be putting out there, and why not have him do that without any statement on that front? The message that it seems you want to say is pretty obvious. Point two, and this is a real big one. I was talking to someone from the Metropolis, like I said, and he brought up how this showrunner is trying to pull a Vikings and Game of Thrones and kind of make this very, very Eurocentric. And I'm like, well, why would you say that? And he's like, well, when Psychic Wheelchair Bird Boy wasn't in the show for most of season 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8,
Hmm.
He wasn't fired, you know. Um, he filmed his stuff, but he was always on for the season after that. Same with most of the characters that were recurring, but not regular. Um, Now I don't know if this show has that kind of budget or what, but yeah. The other thing is they cut two other actors, and we'll get to those guys in a sec. But Kelly, what are your thoughts on this?
So my thoughts, I never got to finish the book, but I remember that that god was an integral character, and I still haven't seen the rest of season 2. I've only seen a handful of episodes, but to me, he's one of the core characters on the show. And
Mm-hmm.
then the reason for the showrunner canceling it, he was just like, oh, like the political climate. He's like, I don't want people to get all worked up. And basically, it's like, so you don't want black people to lash out and revolt because you know that's kind of what that god symbolizes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But at the same time, it's like that's why we fucking love him because, like, because you see, what's one of the reasons we watch television, that we watch TV, is it's like an outlet to do the things that we want to do, but we know we can't. That's what Mr. Nacy is to me on American Gods. So it's just like, it's like you want to say those things, you want to do those things, but you can't. And then they've fired him. They fired Orlando, and I love him to death. And it's just not right. It's like what they did to Gabrielle Union. She basically spoke out about racism on set and, all the double standards with Simon. And then instead of actually fixing it, they're like, oh, we'll just get rid of you.
Well,
And it's not okay. It seems to be a pattern now, and it's like that's not how you deal with things.
we'll talk about Miss Union on a different show. I've got to
Yeah.
do a little more research on that. Now the whole American Gods thing is an interesting thing because they've also cut Matt Sweeney and the Jinn.
Oh
Um,
God.
and with the rest of the cast members that have not returned, such as Gillian Anderson, Christian Chenoweth, um, it's kind of one of those things where I'm going, all right, well, the Irishman is gone. The woman who shares a holiday with Jesus himself is gone.
Yeah,
Um,
they're like getting rid of all the major people that were the reason that we started watching the show in the first place.
yeah. So, what are your
And
thoughts
some
on
of
this,
it, I
Mike?
think, is because they're losing their momentum because there was a huge amount of time between seasons 1 and 2. You got to keep the momentum going, or people lose interest, and the actors do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the weird thing is even though I'm out on season 3, I'm morbidly curious to see what they expect to do, especially concerning how they ended season 2. It was pretty much from what I saw, how I perceived
I
it.
don't care if you spoil it for me. You can go ahead and talk.
Okay, the way I perceived it is Ibis, Bilquis, Anansi are going to
Mm.
form maybe their own alliance outside of New Gods or Old Gods.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Shadow Moon, who's still there. Ricky Whittle. Ricky Whittle put out a very political post like, "I love everybody," and then
Yeah, and that's what we
and then
call job security. Is
yeah,
the
Yeah.
big thing
yo
on
man,
that.
I
It's like,
understand because imagine this: you're Ricky at you're chilling, kicking it at home, and you look on Twitter and you're like, oh, what's going on? And then you see the video from Orlando, and you're like, they're gonna want to talk to me
Oh.
because it's like everybody's gonna essentially want to talk to all the black people on the show, but
Yes.
okay, so Ricky Whittle's still there, cool. But season 2 also had a lot to do with Mad Sweeney and Dead Girl.
Yep.
So if Mad Sweeney's gone, I guess they're just going to pretend. I'm very interested to see what these first 2 episodes look like, just because maybe they'll just write it and pretend like we forgot. Like they were like you'll just do the show, like kind of like just move on and just not mention it. And they'll be like,
nobody
hey,
forgets
but
anything, bro. There's streaming services. There's
like,
Google. If they don't get
Exactly.
that, then they really are
because
out of touch.
I
But
can't see how they're supposed. Cause remember, Salim and the Jin, they went off, and then so I'm like, the only thing I can see is maybe them either A, recasting, or B, just moving on and pretending like, oh, they're off on the West Coast doing something and
And
pretending
just
like
on a personal note, that infuriates me when they just drop a storyline like we ain't gonna notice. It's like, really? Put a bow on it at least, please.
the bow that they'll put on it is
all of
like
that is real. All of that's a real simple thing, and yeah. Now I don't know if they fired Kirsten Chenoweth, but what I do, or Kristen Chenoweth, but I do know that she didn't return, and I recall the season finale of season 1 very well when they brought up she's Ishtar or Easter,
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
she did that whole thing, but she wasn't at the meeting at the carousel, and and the whole I bet well essentially all the black people getting together to film a team. um, that's pretty much how season 2 wrapped up. Now season 3, Orlando Jones, who let's face it, he's been in the game for coming up on 30 years. Okay,
Yeah.
30 years. Starting off with Mad TV, going on to the 7 Up commercials from the mid 90s, the Make 7 Up Yours campaign, to prolific writing in various shows. The whole thing with the Evolution with David Duchovny and the Time Machine remake. I mean, the dude's been working, and he's probably gonna get work, But this is a big one, and the showrunner is kind of going, "All right, we're dumping this character," and I want to talk a little bit about euphemisms so that my viewers lacking color kind of understand where we're coming from. Okay. One of the things about this is racism with a hard R consists of burning crosses, clan robes, swastikas, marching hate crimes. But that soft R racism
is this kind of stuff.
has a very, very big sense of plausible deniability, but the effect is a disproportionate amount of suffering onto specifically the group of people that have been talking about a disproportionate amount of suffering. This goes, again, this channel we talk a lot about gaming, and the soft R is, even reflected in things like Dungeons and Dragons, because it's set in a fantasy European thing. Now, granted, there's nothing that explicitly says no blacks allowed, or no Latinos allowed, or no Iranians allowed, but the players that play already set their heads to fantasy Europe, which wasn't, which here in the States, the Silk Road and all that other stuff that shows that, our number system comes from the Middle East. Modern medicine was started in sub-Saharan Africa and all that, a lot of the history and all that stuff. That's not taught intrinsically. So players, because of the soft R, end up thinking in the mindset of regular times, and the whole soft R thing can be like reflected on crime, where people go, where black people commit more crimes, and it's like, no, we're just arrested more often, and there are more police around looking for us. You see, that's a big thing. Now, the way that this reflects on American Gods is the black person with the darkest skin and the most screen time of the black people on the show is the one that was fired. Not the god that made the character who a Marvel comic was based on join the Nazi party. Like, that was fine. But anger gets stuff done. That's a bad message. So just given that incompleteness.
Yeah, because essentially he just joined the Nazi party just because it was like, oh, well, you get a free trip to America. It was like, that was pretty much it.
Well, either way though, joining the Nazi party and being a symbol for Nazis in a show that's made in 2017, filmed in 2017, aired in 2018, 2019, that doesn't send a bad message. But the speech from a year earlier talking about a history of America, well, that sends a bad message. Yes?
Yeah.
So that euphemism thing that we're talking about, this is the big open question. This is the thing that I'm challenging the viewers to think about. The homosexual Middle Eastern Jin is out of the show. The black dude that says be angry and do something about it is out of the show.
It's out of the show.
But the dude
and
that
let me say
sells
this.
his sons to that sold his son to a Nazi and then killed him when he said no, he's fine. He's fine.
Yeah, makes bullshit. It's bullshit.
Yeah, well,
And the-
language. This is a family show.
Okay. Sorry.
It's okay. You didn't know.
The way they handled him, meaning like Anansi's character, Jin's character, they weren't handled in ways where they were just tools, which I really enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they weren't just like, hey, we're a prop here so that white people can feel something. You know, they
Yeah.
had their own thoughts, their own ideas, their own agency, and weren't just like lagging around and following around. You know, following everyone around.
Oh yeah, no, they very
so
much
the-
weren't sidekick characters, and they very much had an overwhelming thing, an overwhelming part. When we take a look at the show, I mean, I don't know if there's the pitch meeting of where we're keeping the black woman who swallows people with her sexual organs. We'll keep that, but we gotta make we'll keep the gorgeous black woman, and we'll keep the dude that really doesn't do a whole lot except for play host and butler to everyone. But the proactive dude that gets angry and makes speeches, yeah, he's got to go. So I mean,
He's got to go.
yeah.
Yeah.
See, even
So-
Lil Nerd Soul is like, dude, yeah, what's up with
I
that?
think it speaks more to. Yeah, I think it speaks more to the director's mindset and just like what's on a lot of white people who constitute like the upper percent, because like Orlando said, like, you know, he's Connecticut born, he's Yale educated, you know, and it's like this is kind of, you know, their idea of what they think of black people. Like if we showed something for them that really was for them, it's like, oh, then they're all gonna lash out and revolt. And it's like you're taking that mad literally, dude.
Well, I don't want to imply what the I don't want to imply what the showrunner thinks, but I do want to talk about what message his action conveys. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it conveys to me. Is like he's taking it mad literally.
Yeah. Basically, by saying that character sends the wrong message, but not he'll explicitly say that character conveys the wrong message to the black community, but not explicitly saying what the right message is.
Yeah.
That really leaves open a lot of bad look interpretations. A lot
It
of
does.
bad looks. Again, I'm angry because again, Anansi is my family's patron god. He's tattooed on my back, for God's sake. Long story, but you know, wizard. Anyway, and to have the character cut from the show when the sequel book is about him and his sons, makes me think that this new showrunner is kind of trying to torpedo the franchise. So that's a thing. That's really a thing. So I don't know.
Which makes you wonder: do you think there's money in the torpedoing of a franchise? Because to me, you would be thinking he's hurting himself, right?
It is far beyond my intelligence level to try and discern the thought process of a television industry executive.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like, why would you do that?
Well, here's why I don't think it'll be dangerous for him. It's similar to a line in the show ATL or Atlanta, where Darius is telling Earn and Paperboy basically that, you know, white people always get chances. You know what I'm saying? So he can go in, and he might even have a mandate from someone above him going this show, get rid of these characters, get them out of here.
Yeah.
So if
And
he's
the
following-
idea that it did come from upstairs is a real big one that I think we should explore
Yeah.
sometime.
Yeah, because I think he's essentially the instrument to get this done. Because I'm pretty sure with stuff like we've seen from Anansi, stuff that we've seen in Watchmen, outstanding one random scene. Um, we're starting to see writing and characters, black characters, placed in a way where we haven't seen before. And I think there are people
Yes.
in higher decision making places that are not feeling that.
Okay. All right.
And
That is. Yeah.
you know, so
Yeah,
either
they just want
he,
narratives of us as slaves and victims.
yeah,
Yeah, they don't want narratives where they see us as gods and princes and princesses and I'm sorry, but it's like, people crave something new. Like there's a reason why Black Panther was so popular, and it wasn't just because it was another superhero movie. It's like we had a prince who was becoming a king.
Well,
yeah,
that actually goes into this next thing I wanted to talk to you guys about. Because again, on Buster Recap, starting after January 3rd, we're going to be doing episode by episode discussions on The Watchmen, so that's a thing. But since The Watchmen officially wrapped up 3 days ago, it officially wrapped up 3 days ago with the season finale. I think we can talk a little bit, since I got a roundtable going. I want to talk a little bit about The Watchmen and a lot of the pushback, because there's been this thing on the internet ever since it started about The Watchmen and a few other comics being too political. For those of you guys in the back, political tends to mean too black.
Yeah.
And it really is a thing, because it's they talk about they'll call sexism, sexism. They'll call immigrant stuff like, immigrants and, illegal stuff and all that stuff. But when it comes to something that's led by the children of the transatlantic mandatory unpaid internship program, that always gets the term political. Okay. Now, now let's face it, politics is a broad subject, but this word is only used when people that look like me or him or her are involved. And
it's very funny coming from the people that run politics, isn't it?
Well, I'm only talking about the conversations online and reviews and stuff like that. I try not to find out what our leaders.
So the people that benefit from the people that look like them that run politics.
Yes.
Okay.
And the ones that suffer from those same people. So right now we live in a world where not very many people vote in their own self-interest, but that is another show. Hey, you're here. Cool.
Yeah, I lost my connection.
Okay. So what I'm looking at is this show, and big shout out to Warner Brothers. I'm really looking forward to doing in Lord of the Rings, by the way, for taking the real risk of making a show with normalized, powerful black characters that says, all right, we are going to take a look at this country's history and we are going to address a certain part, and guess what, you're going to watch it anyway. Bring on the hate mail. That just means you're watching. And there's been a lot of pushback from a lot of people online talking about that show. Now, it's known that this show is very well written, very well directed, and for people that say get your politics out of it, read the trade paperback. There was nothing more political at the time that it was written in 1985 than the Cold War. So we know that they're not talking about politics, as it were. But the question that I have out there is, with the messages over social media and the internet in general, if people don't want to watch these stories or hear these stories or think about these mythological characters, then what do they want to talk about? Like, all right, we know what you don't like. Tell us what you like, and I'd like them to be honest about that. What are your guys' thoughts on that? You situated, Kel?
No, but I'm about to feed her, and she's about to pop off if I don't get some food.
Oh, well, babies pop off.
I think the issue of being too political um, comes from people that are uncomfortable with dealing with things that are great for them. Like as black people, we are politicized 24/7.
Yeah.
Black bodies, black thoughts, black
Real quick,
speech is oh
Kelly. Yeah. Could I get you to mute your Can I get you to mute your mic real quick?
Yeah.
Thanks.
so black speech, black hair, black bodies, black thoughts, any of that black art is always policed. So we come up in a political sense. Everything about our bodies are political and policed. So
Especially our
the
hair.
only people, yeah, so the only people that think it's too political are people that never have to worry about it. There's a certain section or a certain group of people that never have to worry about police officers or who's going to be the mayor or who's going to be their boss. Never have to worry about it. It's never going to be a situation for them. So whenever they're faced with, oh, this is something slightly real, and I might have to actually deal with something instead of just floating through life, now it's too political. It's
Mm.
like
So
it's
your
like
thought
no,
is
it's
more
not.
the
It's not too
ostrich
political.
effect.
It's just regular political.
Okay,
It's just
so
regular political.
your thought is like it becomes political due to the ostrich effect. Like
Yeah,
I can't stick my head in the sand, and I don't like that.
yeah. It's like I wanted to watch this show that I thought was going to be about Don Johnson, and I found out it was about Regina King. And now, not only is it about Regina King, but it's about Regina King and her blackness and how that blackness correlates to the story in the show, the world around her, whether it's either locally, statewide, or national. And all of the people that look like her are essentially heroes in this story. It is very it is very jarring for someone who's always been good, always been assumed the best of, to watch a show where it's like, wow, nobody in this show is good that looks like me. I know it's gotta hurt your feelings. It's gotta be interesting. It's gotta it's gotta be weird, right? Like you look at a show and the only person you can be is drug dealer number one or gangbanger number two. That's interesting.
I'm sensing a welcome to my world comment coming from you, and I get you on that. I get you
But
on
I
that.
also I like the fact that it shows that regardless of a conservative president or a liberal president, white supremacy still finds a way to be pervasive in the culture because it has nothing to do with your liberal selves or your conservative selves. Racism is outside of politics.
That's right.
Racism uses politics as a tool to subvert people. But if politics did not exist, it's not like, oh, racism gone. Everything is great.
That is a true thing. So yeah, this is just one of those gigs. So we'll talk more about the Watchmen after January. Of course, we're still going to be doing this show every Tuesday, but we're starting to run out of time. So the last thing that I want to bring up, since I got, like I said, since I got a round table, loving the round table, all that jazz, is with the blowback. Now this firing of Orlando Jones reminds me a lot of the Me Too firing of James Gunn from the Guardians of the Galaxy. Um, in the sense of there was a firing that happened and there's a bunch of fan outcry, a whole bunch. So do you guys think that Stars is going to backpedal and go, ooh, you know what, a lot of people are mad, let's just give the guy his job back? And do you think this is a campaign that's going to come down to the showrunner or Orlando?
That's an interesting because from the interviews that Orlando has done up until now, it seems like he's not really tripping on like. It doesn't seem like he really wants the job back, and that might be worse news for stars than it is for Orlando. Orlando's a talented
Yeah.
dude. He'll be on something. But Stars only has two shows. And those two shows are black shows. You're talking about Power, which is in its final season that has like 5 episodes left. And you're talking about Stars, which has had a very distinct black voice and is the only reason it is popping.
Yeah.
Nobody is online sharing scenes of Ian McShane. And I got love for you, but ain't nobody sharing them scenes. Ain't
You-
nobody sharing those scenes of Dead Girl. Ain't nobody sharing scenes of Mad Sweeney. But what do we see scenes of? We see scene after scene after scene from Mr. Nancy or Ibis and Bilquist with Mr. Nancy going viral.
That's a very good point. That is a
Yeah.
very good point.
They blew it as a station because their station is surviving off of essentially like black ratings. Now, it might be a situation where they want to use blackness to get on, kind of like WB, and then switch it up to CW,
Okay.
maybe. But for right now, it's like, bro, y'all ain't got too much going on.
What are your thoughts on this, Kel?
Well, like I said, it's like I'm kind of shocked that, a showrunner, because for one, I feel like as a showrunner, part of his obligation is to honor, as an adaptation of a book, is to honor the vision and, the intent of the book. And I feel by like firing or ridding the series of that character, he's not staying true to that, especially if there's another book that's a spinoff that stars that character. To me, it's just like you're just hemorrhaging money. And then on top of that, the whole thing with James Gunn, the reason that they were trying to fire him, they like went way back, early before he ever was anybody. And they were talking about all these controversial tweets he had. And, I think they just got scared because he had directed the first two films, got great feedback. And they're like, oh, well, like, and then they got letters from all the principal actors saying, hey, we want James back. So I think that's why they were willing to backpedal. But I do agree. It doesn't seem like Orlando's that worried because, like I told you, even before this talk, I've seen in other groups that people have been reaching out to him, talking about some dude. Let's start the spin off right now. He's been giving his agent's number out to people, so he's ready to just start and do his own thing like independently. So it's really going to be their loss if they if they just let him go.
Yeah, and in this day and age of Tyler Perry Studios, where you ain't got to go crying to Disney, you ain't got to go to you don't have to take the hat in your hand to Warner Brothers no more. You know.
Now, see, I was going to bring that up. I was definitely going to bring up.
Came up. They're like, bruh, they said, come on down to Georgia. We'll hook you up. They're like, we got writers. They're like, we can do this.
Yeah, see, that was one of the things I was going to bring up on that, too. See, 30 years ago, the model was a little different. Now, I'm thinking because of the pervasive nature of streaming services and original content that's out there. I mean, let's be real. All right, let's talk about the big three being Netflix, Amazon, and Hulu. But beyond them, we've got YouTube with their own studio. We've got Disney Plus that's coming out and doing their thing. Even BET's got a streaming service. So about a year and a half ago, Dan Harmon, creator of Community and Rick and Morty and all that stuff, said that there's a lot more work for people in entertainment. It just doesn't pay as much as it did back in the early 2000s. So the idea that this would end Orlando Jones's career, that's ludicrous. But my question...
Oh, yeah, that's not happening.
Now, do you guys think, and this is tinfoil hat time. Y'all ready for your tinfoil hats?
Yep, got mine ready.
All right. So, do you think that other production houses for other channels or streaming services like AMC or Turner or BET or Tyler Perry or Netflix or Amazon or Hulu, do you guys think that there is a possibility that they are going to be hitting Jones and Gaiman to do Anansi Boys with Orlando Jones as the showrunner? Like, do you guys think that, say, Tyler Perry Studios would be one of the people that would do that?
I would definitely be sniffing around to see who owns the rights to Anansi Boys.
Yeah.
I would definitely be sniffing around and see because I don't know if Stars bought it as like a package or if Stars only got American Gods. Because if they only got American Gods and I was Tyler Perry, I'd be like, hey,
Hey.
yo, Neil,
Slide into my DMs.
holla at your boy.
Holla.
Let's get this going.
All right, that's a thing. But this is about out of time because I only like to keep the show going for about an hour on Tuesdays. Because post production, uploading, and all that jazz and all that stuff. Though we are live, I want to especially thank our panel today because this is the first time we've done a panel show. And I want to thank you guys for showing up. I specifically called up Nerd Soul because he and I did have a crossover for the season finale of season 1. So we've been doing the whole American Gods thing. But where can they check you out, bruh?
You can check me out at NERD, SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Spotify for some cool music from me. I also have iHeartRadio podcast. Check me out, search me up, hit that like button. You can hit that dislike button, but I'm going to send Charles Eagley after you. And he going to tell you what you do and don't need.
All right, thank you. And Miss Kelly, if they want to get a hold of you, where would they do, or are you not on the internet presence on this right now?
I am on Facebook. It's Kelly Kawaii-Fin. And then on Instagram, I'm Kelsey Bell. And then it's KELLCBELL. And I got my casting journey posted on there along with all the other fun things that I do.
No, fair enough. All right, guys. And since this is the end of the show, I want to thank everybody that showed up. Major thanks to my folks over in NP City holding it down. What's going on, NP City? Thank you very much, Deck Mob, for showing up. You guys really keep this whole thing going, and you guys keep us, going. So just remember, oh God, I feel it coming. Oh, there it is. Yep. The music is playing me off. Isn't that fun? So guys, I want to thank you guys again, for showing up and, joining us here on the dark side of the room, because that is where we are at the moment. Hang on real quick. Yep. All right, let's just, where is my cursor? Hang on, here and there and there. There we go. So thank you guys for showing up. Thank you guys. If you guys are just now joining us for the show and you want to join, I'm sorry. Y'all just a little bit too late. Not super late, just a little bit too late. But if you guys want to get a hold of us over there, just pull up your keyboard and all that jazz and type in backinthedeck@gmail.com. That's BACKINTHEDECK @gmail.com. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel because we've got less than 200 subscribers and that ain't no good. So what we're trying to do is, we're trying to get that back up so that I can be somebody when VidCon comes around. And follow us on the social media, Instagram, Twitter, @BackInTheDeck. If you are on that wretched hive of scum and villainy that we call Facebook, be sure to sign up for Deckers on the Book. It is a group, private group, but you guys can talk about various pop culture nerd stuff. You guys can check out some of the pre-productions for the shows that we have coming up. And of course, you guys can always head on over to the YouTube channel, as I said, and subscribe there because we got hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of content for you guys. And it ain't just me with talking heads, and these ain't the only babies that have been on the show. Also, with all that jazz that you're heading up, head on over to soundcloud.com/BID_P because there you guys can download the audio tracks for shows that we have been doing for free forever about gaming and TV and movies and all that jazz, and you can download it and keep it for free forever, or as long as I can afford to keep paying the account that lets us do all of these other things. But if you guys want to help us out in a more direct manner and help us keep these lights on, just head on over to Back in the Deck or should I say head on over to patreon.com/BID_P. Right now the site is pretty much under construction, but look at all this stuff. We've got so many shows that span back over the course of 7 years with audio and video. You guys want to know what we feel about Lost in Space or various movies and all that stuff, that's where you go to check out all those things and take a look at the long array of co-hosts that have come in and out of this channel. But this is it. This is over. We are tired and also fighting off what seems to be a recurring case of the flu. So if anybody tells you that you can't like what you like because of the circumstances of your birth, be it race, religion, creed, gender identity, sexual orientation, your disability, or your budget, you just tell them that we said to take them cards and put them back in the deck. This is Solar Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer, saying thank you guys, and we will see you next week on the dark side of the room. And we are out.